adventures. My name is Kylynn, and this is my friend Schmoops. And Schmoops, of course, is a beautiful pigeon. And I realized that I haven't done a video yet about pet birds, so let's dive right in because pigeons are my favorite type of pet bird to own. So I wanted to highlight pigeons this week, not only because we have a lot of them available for adoption, but also because they kind of have a bad reputation. A lot of folks see them in cities and they think that they're really dirty and a nuisance. And in fact, they are not dirty. They take baths very frequently if their owners give them a big bath bowl, and they are incredible pets. And I know you're probably thinking, wait, what? Are pigeons wild or are they domesticated? A lot of students hear me talk about adoptable pigeons and they're like, do you mean the ones that are walking around on the sidewalk? Like, is that a wild pigeon who I need to help, or is that somebody's pet who's escaped? So let's dive in and talk a little bit more about the differences between the types of pigeons that you have seen. This pigeon right here, Schmoops, is a king pigeon, and king pigeons are the ones that are really big in size and all white like he is. And these guys are raised for meat, so they are eaten by people, and that meat is called squab. So sometimes the reason why king pigeons come into us is because folks commonly see them for sale in places like markets, and they take pity on them and they don't want them to become somebody's meal, so they buy them and then they release them into the wild. But what they don't understand is that king pigeons cannot thrive in the wild. They don't know how to protect themselves and they aren't incorporated into a flock. So it's really dangerous to rescue a pigeon in this way and release them because you're putting them in harm's way. They're probably going to become injured or even killed by a predator. So racing pigeons and homing pigeons can also be white in color like king pigeons, but they're much smaller and they're more aerodynamic because they are used for flying long distances during pigeon races. And I'm not going to talk a lot about pigeon races because they're what I consider extremely inhumane and have generally a very high death rate amongst the pigeons that participate. And the way that a race works is the people who are breeding and raising these pigeons separate them from their mate, and then they drive them a really far away. And as most of us know, pigeons are really good at finding their way home because they want to rejoin their mate again. And when they release them to fly home, the ones that arrive first are the winners. And along the way, a lot of bad things can happen to the racers. They can be attacked by hawks or other predators while they're flying. They can also get exhausted and become ill and drop out of the sky and are not able to continue their journey. So you can tell that a pigeon is a domestic pigeon or a racing pigeon if it is blue or gray in color, which is commonly looking a lot like wild pigeons, but it has a leg band on it. And so that is a good sign that that is a pigeon that's owned by someone. And that's a pigeon that you can call us and we'll help you capture it, or if you can capture it yourself, you're welcome to bring it into us. It's most likely injured or exhausted and can't continue. And then the white racing pigeons or homing pigeons are also smaller, and they're really good at finding their way home as well, but the white ones aren't used in racing so much as they're used for ceremonies like funerals and weddings, where they're released into the air to help celebrate and make a pretty picture or something like that, and then they do eventually find their way home again as well. And sometimes this is equally as dangerous for the birds as races are, so neither option is really a safe option for the animal. Another type of pigeon are fancy pigeons, and these ones are really cool and really exotic looking. Some of them might have long feathers on their feet or feathers that kind of flip out around their head or unique colors and things like that. These sometimes do come into our shelter as well if they have become lost from their owners, but generally these are pet pigeons that are kept by hobbyists or bred sometimes to enter competitions. there's two common housing options for pigeons. One is indoors in a big parrot cage that you can modify, of course, to make your pigeon comfortable, or the second is outdoors in an aviary. So if you want to keep your pigeon inside so it's a good part of the family, you, instead of providing parrot-like perches for them, you want to provide shelves or boards instead. So they have little three-toed chicken feet instead of four-toed parrot feet. So they're more comfortable on a flat surface than a curved surface. The other thing is you want to provide big, heavy crockery for their food and water dishes, as well as a big, big bath bowl for them to take baths in. Otherwise, the more space you provide in their enclosure, the better. And then if you want to keep them outdoors in an aviary, that's a wonderful option as well. But if you are going to keep your pigeon outside in the aviary, it's really, really important that you keep more than one, because they are flock animals like most birds are. And they do much, much better living with a group, especially if they're outside and not with the family indoors. So at least 2 or more outdoors in an aviary, and making it a really big space is best. But it's important, since they're outside, that you provide predator proofing. So nothing like foxes or owls or hawks or dogs can get in and bother them or injure them. And then also rodent proofing them, so rats and mice can't get into their enclosure and eat their food and potentially pose a risk to them as well. So make sure that you make it really sturdy and safe from both of those categories, and provide a lot of space for them. Lots of shells for them to nest in. They do need a nesting box or a nest provided to them. And pigeons mate for life, so they will become really, really bonded to their pair. And a pair of pigeons every couple of weeks will lay eggs. So just to make sure you don't have more baby pigeons that you're going to have to find homes for, you do want to take out the eggs that they're laying and replace them with fake eggs so they don't hatch. A lot of people ask if they have cats and dogs in the house, can they also own a pet bird like a pigeon? And the answer is yes. Just like all pets, they do pose a risk to one another, especially cats and dogs, since they are predators. You can't just throw them together with a prey animal like a pigeon and expect it to go well. So this needs to be done very safely and very slowly, so all the animals feel safe and secure and nobody is threatened. And then eventually, over time, I think that the cats and dogs and the other animals learn slowly that this pigeon is a part of the family. It's a part of the pack, so it's not to be eaten or played with, and they can get along quite well. But you do always need to be safe and always supervise your pets interacting with one another. If you're just getting your pigeon, they might be very fearful, and they might not be socialized to humans yet. So that's going to be a really slow and careful process on your part. You need to go very slow around them. Don't make any rapid movements. It's best to sit down so you're not towering over them. That makes you seem a little more threatening. And keep your hands behind your back, because hands are the biggest threat to a pigeon. We are, after all, a big predator to them, so it's common for them to be afraid of us in the beginning. You do want to talk to them a lot. You can even coo to them so they can start to listen to your voice and know and recognize you from your voice. And then slowly, little by little, you can start hand feeding them. And then eventually, if they let you hold them, you're going to put them in pigeon pants. And Schmoops is wearing pigeon pants right now. And that's like a little diaper, essentially. And it does have a leash on it. So one thing about owning birds is that when they're out of their cage, they poop everywhere. So pigeon pants are a real lifesaver, because it does catch all of the poop. You just need to make sure that you switch his pigeon pants out every few hours so he doesn't get all yucky underneath. So many people, when they think about owning a bird, are imagining a type of parrot like a parakeet or a cockatiel, or even a larger bird like a macaw. But pigeons are commonly left out of the equation, and it's a shame, because they make such an outstanding pet. And there's a couple reasons why I think they're better than parrots. They don't make loud noises and vocalizations like screams. Instead, they just have this beautiful little coo. And they also become really, really calm and really, really social quite quickly. So the next time you're in the market or considering adopting a pet bird, I hope that you consider a pigeon. I've had so much fun talking to you about Schmoops this week. I'll see you all next time with a new episode.